I heard this guy named Bubba the Love Sponge. 30 years ago, he was a somebody. And so for clout, he was hammering your guy.
This is Tfue's. Now, here's the thing. If this really is Tfuesdad, his TikTok account, I think his name's Bob or Robert. I know him. I've met him a couple times with Billy Bullers. And for him to act like, because the person asking the question here tries to act like I'm just some local yokel radio guy that he may have in a fleeting type moment heard of. But realistically, if Tfuesdad, which this is Tfuesdad's account, if it's him asking this guy the question, then he knows who I am. He doesn't have to act like, I guess there's some radio guy who might have been relevant 30 years ago named Bubba the Love Sponge. And if it really is you, Tfuesdad, bitch, I'm going to have a word with you when I see you.
But Terrence.
And this is talking about the Lieutenant Dan situation. And I don't think any of us think that was a very funny situation.
Now, is this Tfue?
No.
No, that's the Tampa, the guy he's some TikToker.
I think this is, Seth, isn't this the guy
Tampa Terrence,
that actually found Lieutenant Dan and discovered him and put him up on TikTok the very first time, this guy?
Bubba, I'm going to keep it a hundo with you. I have no idea what this is or who this is.
That's Tampa Terrence. That's the guy that found Lieutenant Dan.
All right, so that indeed is what I thought it was.
Yes.
This is the guy that started the whole Lieutenant Dan craze.
Correct.
Maybe the world may not have even been exposed to Lieutenant Dan had it not been for this dude.
So what, was he hanging out at the river and he seen the guy on the boat?
I think so.
And asked him if he was going to stay out there during the storm, and he said, yeah.
I think that's as good a guess as any.
But Terrence, the inventor of the live stream in Tampa, he went out in the hurricane and came upon it.
Yep, this, by the way,
Why do we need the music?
This is Tfue's father. I've spoke to him.
Young guy, Tampa.
I've spoke to him on the phone before. This is Tfue's father. This is his dad. And I'm calling Billy Bullers up right now and getting his number.
The hurricane and came upon a young guy that was dubbed after the fact as Lieutenant Dan. And Lieutenant Dan, told the mayor to go F herself, and guess what? I don't like her, so he did a good job. That's not what you're going to hear on the internet.
Now, hold on. Do you not know what I don't like the mayor. I've clowned the mayor. So we have that in common. So what do you mean that's not what you're going to hear on the internet? That was my entire position.
Isn't this an odd piece of content, though?
Yeah, but why it kind of is.
Okay.
Hold on here.
But here's what bothered me today. You can respond to this. I heard this guy named Bubba the Love Sponge. 30 years ago, he was a somebody. And so for clout, he was hammering your guy. And I don't know your guy. I know he doesn't. Say he's some dirtbag hustling. He got $100,000, he said.
Now, isn't that what Lieutenant Dan is? A dirtbag hustler?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the only thing that all of us have agreed on today. Simultaneously, we all said, yeah.
He's lucky I didn't find him.
He did try to set a woman on fire, right? I mean, that's
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Right, and I mean, Seth, we've seen his rap sheet.
He might have, beaten a cop.
What would you
know
do?
what? And then he says, he does this all the time. He just came upon the boat.
Now, hold on. Listen, Tfuesdad, he does do a bunch of stuff all the time. Have you seen his rap sheet? He's been arrested no less than 10, 15, 20. He's been arrested more than Gene.
Jumped in to say he was doing this. So I want you to respond to what this bull is.
Okay, first of all, he asked me to make the videos of him. When I first met him, he was like, I want someone to tell my story. And I was like, listen, I do social media, so let me tell your story for you. So that's what I did. I told the story. It blew up. Got out. Like, it went crazy. So, yeah, I just did what he
So he got $100,000.
100. I don't know. I don't think anyone got 100. He got 50, maybe 40, I think.
So it does, and
That's still
and
too
the
much.
big
Yeah, hold on.
factor is, all there are haters on the internet. Everyone's hating on this guy. He doesn't have a leg. He's disabled.
So what?
How about empathy? And you don't know jack shit about him,
God.
so don't talk about him in a negative way. This
Listen, Tfuesdad.
Did he have a
I
stroke?
don't need to know anything about him. I just pulled up his rap sheet. He's been arrested I don't know how many times. He's a grifter. This guy made him famous.
Was this a setup then? Like,
I don't know what this is.
Of course it is.
Like, I'm asking you,
you think
Seth,
Lieutenant
like,
Dan was a plant now to get to? I mean, if
Yeah, I mean, like,
if they're saying we don't know Lieutenant Dan, then they clearly know something we don't.
But here's the deal. If we don't know Lieutenant Dan and we have hard evidence of what Lieutenant Dan's past has been, then who really doesn't know Lieutenant Dan? Because the information we got from Lieutenant Dan wasn't hearsay, wasn't our opinion.
Facts on paper.
I mean, the guy's got paper. And that means you've been arrested several. I mean, I think there was actually a report as to how many times he's been arrested.
It's over 15.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like,
over, yeah.
Wow.
what is the point of this? Like, Seth, is Lieutenant Dan, was he a plant for?
Well, then Bubba, that means that his daughter crying was a plant. I mean, that really, this is taking it to like a Hollywood type production now. But I don't know how gullible we are as a society. I thought it was real. It looked like that, he teamed up with this guy. I don't know if this guy thought that, obviously he didn't know that people were going to start giving this guy a bunch of money. But I don't know why it's worth defending this, a week after the fact.
Well, now, I mean, because the guy's calling me out. And I mean, he's calling me out as I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, for you being irrelevant, they're doing a 2-minute video about you and what you said.
Right. And I mean, to the point where Tfue's dad is seeking out our content of calling out what we think is a fraudulent Lieutenant Dan. So how irrelevant are we?
So and the big factor is all there are haters on the internet. Everyone's hating on this guy. He doesn't have a leg. He's disabled. How about empathy? And you don't know jack shit
Yep.
about him, so don't talk about him in a negative way.
Well, let me tell you something.
We didn't take his leg.
It doesn't. Yeah, we didn't take his leg, and the only thing that we spoke about him is what we could find on the internet. He's got a rap sheet a mile long. He never did, he was able to bamboozle the mayor. He didn't bamboozle us. Maybe we are the only ones that really called this out for what it was.
I sent you what looks like to be on this Terrence guy's
Yeah.
page, his first video with Lieutenant Dan.
Terrence looks like he spends a lot of time in Ybor.
Terrence Cannon is his name. He's like,
We're
he
here
has-
with the real life Lieutenant Dan. Big hurricane coming. What are you gonna say to the
Oh,
hurricane?
my God.
Fuck you. You want
Oh.
me? Come and get me.
Yeah.
Anybody. Wayne, devil, cops, anybody. Bring it on. I'm ready for you all.
Let's go. He's not leaving, baby.
I'll tell you who's chasing clout is the original guy that taped him,
Yeah.
right?
Terrence Cannon?
Yeah.
It makes me
This guy here, we're not chasing clout. We're reporting clout chasing.
Look how short those shorts are. It looks like he shaves his
this
legs,
man
too.
has been kind, helped him, and always be positive. So what do you think of that?
I think that this guy's,
Look at the way he's standing.
hold on. Tfue's dad is really a piece of shiz.
Yep.
And his other son, now listen, both of his sons are very, very successful content providers. I mean, Tfue makes millions of dollars. He's one of the very few that he's one of Twitch's big time stars where they write, $5 and $10 million a year checks to keep him on Twitch. I know that to be a fact. And then his brother is the Juke Squad on YouTube, and I think they have 8, 9, 10 million subscribers. So both of his sons have done very well with regards to the digital world. I don't know why he's calling me out.
Is the dad a leech? Like a hanger-oner?
Well, I mean, I think his dad, kind of. I mean, why don't you just live off your, I don't think that you have
You think
to.
the dad's in content development now? Like he's
Yes.
working, okay.
Yes. I think the
getting
dad's
some rub.
trying to get a rub. where he should just be the dad and the kids are, scraping him off, a few $100,000 a year to be the dad. I don't think you got to call me out when at the end of the day, man, every person that has been told the Lieutenant Dan situation thinks the guy's a meth out tweaker that bamboozled everybody. Maybe he didn't mean to, per se, but Tampa Terry or whatever this guy's name is, he certainly exploited him for the first time in his 15-second deal that built Lieutenant Dan up to what he was, that got him $50,000, supposedly a $1 million deal with Kick and said until he said the N-word. Like, I'm not clout chasing. You don't see me clout chasing because of my comments about Lieutenant Dan. I made fun of our mayor who said that they had apprehended him and put him in a shelter.
The Tampa Police Department this morning just saved Lieutenant Dan.
I mean, I don't even know why I'm even part of this situation. I made fun of our mayor, which Tfue's father doesn't like, and I made fun of the fact that our society is such suckers that we would make a guy like Lieutenant Dan a star when all you are is a having been arrested over a dozen time crackhead tweaker with one leg.
Bad dad, too.
And a bad dad. I mean, listen, Tfuesdad, go watch Lieutenant Dan's daughter talk about how much of a grifting piece of shiz he is and how nobody should give him any money.
You think you've met Tfue's dad in the past and maybe you did something to offend him? Or...
I had to, listen, 3 or 4 years ago when we were really predominantly Twitch, I had Tfue's dad on the phone. Billy Buller's conference called us. And this was when he was at his, he's still huge. And we were supposed to have Tfue in the studios to play a game. And for some reason, that went awry. Tfue didn't think we were big enough to get his rub. And quite frankly, we probably weren't. There comes a point where, we had 50, 60, 70,000 followers and he's got, 8 million. Probably ain't worth it.
Yeah. How about some charity, though?
Yeah. How about a guy from your own hometown that broadcasting-wise at that time was the biggest, on Twitter. I'm sorry, on Twitch. We were the biggest on Twitch. We've since backed off of Twitch because they're just impossible. And why not spread ourselves? Why not do, 2,000 on Rumble, 1,500 on YouTube, 1,000 on Twitter.
Twitch was taking a big percentage, right?
Yeah, Twitch took a larger percentage, and they had and they're so transphobic. They're ran out of San Francisco by a bunch of lesbians. And they didn't like what we do. And we'd constantly get suspended.
Man.
So I don't know. I don't know how I got to be the bad guy. But and I don't even think I'm the bad guy. I think we're one of the very few people that got it right. We got it right. We called it out for what it was.
Do you think people just pile on you sometimes because they think you're an easy target, or?
No, I don't think. I just think people have such a disdain for me because they don't really know the truth about a lot of things that I've been involved in, and it's a lot easier to hate me. It's just a lot easier to really not do your research and what I've really done, rather than just to hear that most people only have heard that I was a dick.
But they're missing out on such a great person, though.
Yeah, stop.
No, I'm...
You're really kissing so much ass today, it's pathetic.
If you want a deep dive into the Bubba the Love Sponge show from the past, go to BubbaArmyHQ.com. We'll be back after these words.